I specifically want to go into a bit of background about today's modern slavery that is being conducted by the Arabs and the Muslims. You see, the escape route that is typical of the religious zealot who calls himself a Muslim. They say, "Oh, Marquette, you must excuse us. That was in the past. It was in the past that we enslaved Africans for 1,300 years. It was in the past that we abused African boys, cut off their phallus and scrotum, plugged it with a metal spike, packed them into sand so they wouldn't bleed out so we could put pressure against the wound, and then sold them at a high price because 9 out of 10 would die in creating eunuchs." That was in the past, even though it ended merely in the 1980s in Muslim countries. That was in the past, even though enslavement goes on today in Mauritania and in Libya in open slave markets conducted by Muslims. But I want to tell you there's yet another way in which they enslave people today. And I think it's worth you knowing. I think you should hear about it. Yes? Because it's going on in these popular places that you vacation to, like Dubai. It's going on in your holy land, which is not so holy. Yes, we're going to talk about it today, ladies and saints. This is called the kafala system, sponsorship. Some of you may have heard about it briefly. Every now and then you might see something about it on Instagram, but it'll disappear quickly because the United Arab Emirates, which is a country that doesn't even pretend to have freedom of speech, they scrape this stuff. They also prosecute those who speak against the government. They even prosecuted people who admitted that drone strikes and missiles were hitting UAE. I remember I was there. I had friends reach out to me and say, "Don't speak up. You don't want to be disappeared." Jordan comes in via PayPal. He writes, "Peace of the Saints. Would you be able to give me the table of contents of the lectures of the Black Code?" I actually made a post on the community tab on YouTube some time ago, giving some of the table of contents because we will not give all of it to the enemy. I will give you some notes. I'll just look through very quickly. The Black Code. The first lesson is an introduction and also a definition of black on a scientific anthropological level. Secondly, I describe the scope of the Black Code. Thirdly, we discuss the N-word and strategic responses. Following that, we discuss the true origin of the different varieties of mankind, the races, if you like. Then there's another lesson called Religion and the Black Mind. Then there's another lesson called Origins and Psychology of the Black Traitor, discussing, the Talmud Tatums, the Candace Owens, the Hodge twins of the world. Then there's another lesson on the white organization. There's actually quite a few of them. There is a lesson on some things that I'm not going to identify publicly. There's actually 7 lessons that I won't identify. Then there's one on reparations. There's another one called Use the Government instead of being used by the government. There's one called Operating Behind Enemy Lines, Tricking the Devil. There's another one called that is a procedure for being pulled over by the police, giving specific steps. There's another lesson called Armed Self-Defense for people of color, and it gives specific references to certain states and their laws. There's an entire section on procreation. There's a lesson on the perversion of the black male. There's a lesson on healing the black bedwench. There's a lesson on creating more black people. There's a lesson on race mixing, black identity, and war strategy. There are lessons on financial literacy, lessons on language, standards, and education, lessons on health, lessons on thriving in the workplace as a black person, lessons to teach your children, lessons on martyrdom, lessons on acceptable education and careers, and black heroes and racial self-esteem. The price of this is $555 US, not Canadian dollars. That's quite a few lessons, and most importantly, it's a living document. It'll be updated over time, endlessly. So there you have it. That is the Black Code for the melanated peoples of the earth. You can find that at skool.com/marquett/classroom. Those are the contents. There we go. Fantastic. Now let's go ahead and get to this lesson. The person writes, is Christianity for black people? No, thanks. Carrying on. The kafala system. And mind you, this operates pretty much anywhere you can think of in the Middle East, which would be Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, United Arab Emirates. This is how the Muslim Arabs enact slavery today, right in front of the faces of the world's NGOs, of the world's governments. The reason that we know this is slavery is because a worker's legal status is tied to a single employer, kind of reminiscent of slavery now, isn't it? Well, Marquette, what do you mean? Yes, as a slave, you had a single master. They owned you. You couldn't switch masters. You were owned. If you're an employee or an independent contractor in the United States, you can change employers. You could decide to work for someone else. But in the kafala system, you are tied to that single employer. A migrant worker's legal rights to remain in the country depend on the employer, the sponsor. This means that they have substantial control over whether the worker could change jobs, leave the country, or even renew their legal residency. If an employee is physically abused, and they often are, you can see videos of people, Muslims, Arabs in the Holy Land, beating Ethiopians like they are dirty carpets. If the employee is sexually assaulted, if they're forced to work excessive hours, even if they're not paid, they have very little recourse, because to complain is to essentially be kicked out of this country where theoretically you have some opportunity and booted back into your country where you did not find opportunity. Or what's worse is a lot of these workers from these countries, and I'll name the countries that are typical, what happens is that they'll pay a great sum to be brought into a Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. And for those of you who may not know, Dubai, that famous city, is in the United Arab Emirates. So when I say UAE, I'm referring to the United Arab Emirates. It is a country. And also Abu Dhabi is as well in the United Arab Emirates. And both of these places host a great many migrants who are little more than slaves. They may still struggle to leave because quitting will jeopardize their immigration status. In many countries, losing sponsorship means becoming undocumented and facing detention or deportation. Yes, going to jail, which I can assure you, jail in these Arab countries where it's sweltering hot, I promise you it's not a comfortable place. This creates a situation where workers may continue working despite abuse. It's oh so common. And frankly, they have very little recourse. Just imagine trying to use the legal system when your passport has been confiscated by your employer, which means that you can't even properly present yourself as a legal person, and you're going into a court system where Arabic is the language of the law, and more importantly, the Arab Muslims who run that system run it based on Sharia, and we know that the Muslims condone slavery. And also on top of that, they're racist. So you have no passport, you don't speak English, you're not a Muslim, and you're not an Arab. Oh, how will you win? You probably won't. You probably won't. Come on now. You guys can see Twitter shadow banning me something serious. How did my spaces go down to 4 people? The last 2 days, significant attendance. All of a sudden it's 4 people. Very strange, ladies and saints. Pay attention. Something that's very common in the kafala system that the Arab Muslims do is that they take your passport. So once you arrive from wherever you came, whether it's the Philippines, India, Ethiopia, South Africa, Nigeria, they take your passport. Which means at that point, you become stateless. It is a claim that you're an employee and not property, but When you have no passport and you are a non-citizen, who do you belong to? You are at the mercy of he who holds your passport, which is your employer, air quotes. He who holds your passport is essentially owning your papers. Although illegal in many Gulf countries, employers have frequently confiscated workers' passports. When we say illegal, that does not mean it is not common practice. I heard a foolish Muslim say yesterday that Islam does not condone slavery. I say, oh, that's very strange, because not only did they condone it, they practiced it, got hella good at it for 1,300 years. 20 million Africans transported. They practiced crude methods of castration on the boys who are age 8 on average. What do you mean they didn't condone it? What do you mean Islam doesn't condone slavery? Islam, in the Holy Land of Mecca and Medina, you had enslaved Africans, you even had eunuchs. So yes, they condone it, and certainly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-seeing. And if he wasn't all-seeing, he should at least be able to see Saudi Arabia, where this religion was created by Arabs, among Arabs, for Arabs, not for you blacks. You suffer under this system. You've suffered for the last 1,300 years, and you suffer today. And it's not just you. Today they found a way to reinstate enslavement. You see, without a passport, workers will certainly find it difficult to return to their home country, to get help from the police or legal forces, or to even establish their identity. Or how about this? To travel. You can't travel without a passport. So to suggest that this is not slavery when confiscating the passport is a regular practice is ridiculous. And I say this not as one who understands this solely in an academic fashion. I personally know a Kazakh young lady who recounted to me a harrowing tale of how she came to Dubai thinking that she would have employment, and all of a sudden she was trapped in some sort of a camp and had to be rescued. Come on now. Here's the kicker. Wage theft is also very common. And by the way, it's not just me saying this. Human rights organizations have documented these practices that I'm describing, and they describe this as slavery, as forced labor. There's wage theft that occurs with many migrant workers. They'll go months without pay. They'll have their pay delayed. They'll have wages that are promised but never given. And this is the most common way that these Arab Muslims do it, is they'll deduct from the workers' pay for food and housing, even though that wasn't a part of the deal. For example, there were times I had some significant dealings in real estate in the Khaliji, and often when you buy a flat or a townhouse or a villa, it'll come with maids' quarters. And of course, they're pretty grimy, as you would expect, but it's so common that they even build it into apartments. It's expected that you would have this low-cost labor, essentially slave labor. And as it is built, they're always building these accommodations into even apartments. It's assumed that the worker is going to get food and housing as a part of the deal, and they'll be paid some modest amount of money. But what these wicked Arab Muslims will do is they'll tell them that, oh, well, you ate this much food, and I'm also covering your housing. I'm going to deduct this amount of dirhams from your salary. And as a result, looks like you owe me, looks like you're in debt. Or they end up paying them not enough money for them to do anything meaningful with. It's debt slavery. And debt slavery, that should ring a bell for you Americans. Debt slavery, yes, your credit cards, your student loans, your auto loan, your mortgage. Yes, debt slavery, that should ring a bell. Now, the thing that you don't understand about debt slavery is that it also creates a psychological dynamic. And what I mean when I say a psychological dynamic is that you think if they owe me this money, then maybe they'll pay me, meaning if the migrant has been working and the employer says, oh, just give me a little bit of time, and they're delaying payment, or they say, oh, I owe you this amount of money that you've worked for, and you stay there and keep working in the expectation that you'll get it, but you never get it, you can't accept that it's sunk cost and move on. So it creates a psychological dynamic on that side when the owner is the one that owes the debt, even though they don't intend to pay it and you have no means of enforcing it. Then on the other side, when the owner is creating a false psychology in the migrant, telling them that they are owing due to their housing and food expenses, it creates a certain psychology, which is an easy way to control these folks. And I didn't discuss the other way that these migrants from Ethiopia, from South Africa, from Nigeria, from Philippines, from India, from Kazakhstan, there's another way that they show up indebted and basically become a indentured servant, a slave. And that is that just to get over to Dubai or to Saudi Arabia, they need a flight ticket, which is of course expensive, and they'll need, visa services, and so they can't afford this. So they basically promise their wages that will be earned in the host country. And so they'll show up already in thousands of dollars of debt, in some cases having promised half of their first year's salary or even all of their first year's salary. So in as much as that's the case, they're pretty much bonded to work. And if they don't work, then this debt may fall upon their family members. So it's quite a sad thing that these Arabs and these Muslims are putting over on these populations and the world. So what I'm referring to are the recruitment fees that are paid. And these workers come from Nepal, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Kenya, Ethiopia, Philippines, India, excuse me, I said India twice, Nigeria, South Africa, Kazakhstan, the list goes on infinitely. Yes? Some borrow years worth of income to obtain overseas employment. So that means if you quit, you still owe debt, and returning home might bankrupt your family. And in some cases, if your family paid money for you to go, now this is another heavy piece on the psychology. If your family paid money for you to get there, and you get there and don't stick it out in your job, it's kind of embarrassing. But more importantly, your family feels like you've wasted their money, of which they clearly don't have much, because if they had a lot, you would not be a migrant worker in the Middle East, right? Nobody wants that at all. Come on now. Project Monger writes, Saint, 4 times in a row I attempted to join your space on X. It boots me out saying the live has ended. Oh, isn't that strange, huh? That's very strange. Yes, indeed. Not a coincidence. Something is weird. Yep, I can see that below. It says recording cuts off all the time. People are commenting below, the recording suddenly stops working and your voice gets cut off. I've repeatedly gone off. Yeah, isn't that weird, ladies and saints? Let me go ahead and cut this one and try it again. That's weird. I think we can all agree that's not coincidental. Try that one more time. Okay, there we go. So we'll see if folks are able to join that one. And while people are joining on that one, and it does appear that it actually has the correct title this time, let me acknowledge some of the folks supporting the work. May I acknowledge Mr. Charles writes, I saw your most recent video where you were only paid $1.09 by the YouTube Corporation for your content. That is unacceptable. I want to support and acknowledge the educational content you provide and produce. I appreciate you. And you know, the funny thing is people think I'm making a killing on social media. On Instagram, I'm demonetized and shadow banned. I have 500,000 followers. I make $0 on Instagram. On Twitter, I make $0. On YouTube, I don't make $0. In the last 28 days, and I showed the data earlier, I make $1.09 in the last month. So I do this because it has meaning, and that's why I do fairly serious topics. You don't see me like, hey, I'm reporting on the World Cup. Like, nah, not at all. I'm doing topics that have meaning, and I am able to do this because you guys support the work. People like Project Monger, who support it with a super sticker. Folks like Just, who writes, I love how you approach these issues. Great work. Came in with a super thanks. And also Alex, who writes Truth Be Told, came in with the super chat as well. Now, that's why I'm able to do this work. As you guys can see, they make every effort to try to remove visibility from my work. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Twitter Spaces cutting people off and also changing the time and the title. Really bizarre. And you guys yourselves saw that people had commented that it was kicking them off, as you can see right here, highlighted. So these are not claims and speculations. You can see it there in black and white. But I'm going to return to explaining how the Muslims and the Arabs today have engaged in slavery, have been engaging in slavery. Yes? So obviously, using the kafala system, which operates throughout the Gulf states, we have the Arabs and the Muslims seizing the passports of their workers, slaves, but they call them employees. And domestic workers have reported, number one, being locked in compounds. Number two, having an inability to leave the house, which that sounds just like slavery. Number three, being watched and monitored. Number four, having their phones confiscated. Number five, having no days off. And I know this to be true. And in fact, I can tell you that when I was shopping for real estate in Dubai, and long story, but in shopping for real estate in Dubai, they're often, selling up the fact that they have a maid's quarters included in many of the flats, villas, and townhouses that you can buy. And they'll say, oh yeah, and we can connect you to these agencies that can place a worker, whatever kind of worker you want, male, female, Muslim, atheist, Christian. You want them from Somalia, you want them from Eastern Europe, you want them from Philippines, Kazakhstan, Nepal, India, Nigeria, just let us know. You want them to speak multiple languages, whatever, we'll get them for you. Very cheap, Mr. Burton. So cheap, you will laugh, Mr. Burton. Trust me, if you buy this villa from me, I will throw in a worker and they will be so cheap. Like, you listen, what you're gonna save in the worker, you could spend on the house. And that's how they market it. They're saying, hey, basically, buy this piece of real estate, I'll throw in a slave or two. These are facts from real life. And also, the hours are very long because remember, these people who come as migrant workers from third world countries, they're not fluent in Arabic, yes? They don't have access to their passports. They don't have a way to advocate. There's no HR. Their employer is the HR, which means that they're screwed. So the work hours are unbearable. We're talking about 18-hour days, 20-hour days in some cases, especially for those who are hiring the females and they have newborns. 7 days a week with little or no time off. And certainly, if you are not a Muslim and you need time off for your religious holidays, that will not be permitted. Come on now. And then the last part, not the last part, second to last part, is isolation. You see, unlike construction workers who at least see other construction workers or inspectors or domestic workers, or inspectors, the domestic worker, the nanny, the maid, these people work in private residences. And so they don't get to see other people in general, and certainly specifically, they don't get to see their countrymen, right? If you're an Ethiopian housemaid, you don't get to see other Ethiopians because you're pretty much confined to the home of the Arab master that you're working for. And what's worse is that this isolation makes it harder for the authorities, or for a good Samaritan, which is few and far in between, to identify the abuse that is going on. Yes? And then there's the threats and intimidation. But it's not only threats and intimidation. If you take a simple Google search, if you Google Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia maid beating, things like this, you'll be able to see quite explicit videos that they have to blur on YouTube. Yes? So it's not just the threats and intimidation, it's actual beatings. I saw one video that was so heinous. It was an entire family in Saudi Arabia. Yes, an entire family with this maid tied upside down, and they had her wrapped in a carpet, and they were all beating her with a stick. And she was screaming out, and the fact that her screams didn't impact them, her screams choked me up just listening to that. And it shows you that these people are heartless. They've always been heartless. Nothing about them has changed in 1,400 years. And when they make threats, they're making threats from a very credible position because they have all of the power. They threaten deportation. They threaten false criminal allegations. And we know that if you are in a system that operates based on Sharia, and you're not a Muslim, and you're not an Arab, and you don't speak Arabic, and you're a foreigner, you are about to catch an L for surezies. And you know, if you get convicted, say in UAE, you're being deported. So you're going to do your jail time in UAE, and then you're being deported, and you can't ever come back. Yeah, that's something that'll scare people who are in positions of weakness. They're vulnerable populations. Of course, they threaten loss of wages, and very often this is something that is delivered on. They also threaten retaliation against family members, and this is something that is threatened by the recruiters. So the recruiters are one element in this whole business scheme. They're the ones who bring these persons from their home countries. These are if you were thinking of it in the Mexican context, these are the coyotes. These are the individuals who operate in a gray area, kind of not entirely legal, a bit seedy. And they deliver these slaves, right, to these Arab families. And of course, they want their slaves to slave well. And so the recruiters are using leverage against the slaves to make sure that they're compliant. Hey, your mom is going to owe me money if you can't pay me based on your wages. And if you don't behave with your employer, you're not going to be able to pay me. This is all going to go back on your family. Yes, it's rough. And so it's the fear of these very real consequences that prevent workers from getting out of this slavery. And the reason why scholars and NGOs call it slavery is, number one, the inability to freely leave employment. Number two, coercion. Number three, debt bondage. Number four, restriction of movement. Number five, confiscation of identifying documents. Number six, exploitation through threats and abuse. I mean, it sounds just like slavery. So all of that is an example of the gentlest form of Arab enslavement that's going on today. But there are forms that are far more blatant, and they're going on in Libya and Mauritania. And I think Libya is the situation that one should consider the most vile. And that was actually created by Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. You could ask me why, if you like. Anyways, I want to yield the floor to folks in the Twitter space if they have something to say. I'll give you guys a little bit of time to hop in there. Shout out to Gary, came in supporting the work using the Stripe link in the description of the YouTube video. I also acknowledge via PayPal. Shout out to Bryn, writes, peace to the saints from South Africa. I appreciate that. Shout out to all the good South Africans. May I acknowledge Alejandro, writes, peace to the saints, excuse the absence. We'll be back with more support. Appreciate you. Shout out to Qasim, writes, peace to the saints tuition. Thank you for your teachings. It's truly edifying, the work that you put in. Thank you, sir. Glad some folks out here appreciate that. I also acknowledge Jefferson. He writes, Twitter's manipulating spaces. It might be better now, but earlier the YouTube live was not reflecting the true amount of people in the space. Funny, right? Shout out to Alfonso, came in with the first baller alert. He writes, peace to the saints. My apologies for the lack of support. I appreciate you, and it's good to see you again. I also acknowledge Issachar came in a strong way via Venmo, writes, peace to the saints. Shout out to Clay, comes in via PayPal, writes, tuition. And may I acknowledge Brian? He writes, peace to the saints. I remember having a conversation about Orthodox Christianity and adultery under the teachings of Jesus. The fellow was offended and assumed I condemned him to hell as he is a divorcee. Appreciate the conversation, sir. The folks need to understand the words. Oh, absolutely. Shout out to Saleh. He writes, peace to the saints. He got the all black on, gents. He is ready to dish out some smoke. It is a fact that they hire nannies and workers, that they overwork in the Khaliji states. Furthermore, UAE has banned many African countries, yet they are investing in those countries to obtain resources. That's correct. Sudan is the best example of it. And it seems as though the pure black, the perfect black, the beautiful black is what they hate the most. Oh, those tall, black, gorgeous, godly people. They surely do hate them. Yes, indeed. Qasim writes, your recording on Twitter continuously keeps getting muted. I've tried going off and coming back. He writes, it happens every time I'm a few seconds into it. At the very least, this is what's happening to me. Well, other people have reported issues with that Twitter space. I don't think it is coincidental. Shout out to Willie. He writes, tuition, pay what you owe or pay what you can. I will have to catch the replay. Peace of the saints. I appreciate you, and that was wise. Beautifully said. Shout out to Saleh. He writes, peace of the saints. That's facts right there. What is despicable is they sexually assault African women, and this is such a fact. This is something that is so well known. If you're in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, if you're in the United Arab Emirates, this is so well known. And it's angering, honestly, because a lot of these African women go there out of sheer desperation. And to know that they're not only being abused, they're being abused every single freaking day because they live with their abusers. He writes, what is despicable is they say sexually assaulted African women, is that they sexually assault African women and engage in sodomy with the males. Goddamn, they've went too far. They view Africans as slaves till this day. You ain't never lied. The wages you get paid as an African are significantly lower despite having the right skills. Oh, I believe it. Shout out to Alan. He writes, peace of saints. Hope all is well with you, Marquette. Keep up the highly valuable work that you're doing. Thank you. I appreciate you. And shout out to all the folks standing up, making their name known. Shout out to those supporting the work. I appreciate you all. Juan writes, peace of the saints for doing what no one else is doing, like no one else can do it. I appreciate you. Shout out to the real one. Juan been with us a long time ago. Mr. Chambliss writes, are you banned from going live on Instagram? Yes, I am banned from going live on Instagram. He writes, the lying liar lieth, and still they lie their lies. I better not speak about the engineering at X so that they don't censor us more. Yeah, exactly. And I know something's funny on X because I've had 15,000 subscribers for 3 years, which is damn near impossible. Like at my level of market penetration is damn near possible. Like for example, I'm in a Latin American country today. We're walking around. Some guy's like, hey man, I watch your stuff in a random Latin American country. We have really good penetration. So the fact that Twitter has capped me off at 15,000 people, we know something's weird when I have 500,000 on Instagram, real followers, not bought followers. I got 250,000 on YouTube. It just doesn't make sense at 15,000 on Twitter, right? We know something is sus. Anyways. Carrying on. May I acknowledge, shout out to Justin, he writes, peace of the saints, keep your foot on the enemy's neck, Commander. Sir, yes, sir. Oh, absolutely. Because really, when you think about it, we owe them. Shout out to Hills End, came in earlier today. We owe them. You see, as an elementary school teacher, we learned about Hammurabi's Code. We learned about basics and ethics. We understood the concept of eye for an eye. That makes perfect sense. And I think that a lot of eyes are owed. A lot of these people should be walking around as cyclops because the black peoples were enslaved for 1,300 years, 20 million of us. And this does not count the many black males who are not able to have children. This was virtually a genocide. So if it's eye for an eye, we have a lot of eyes to collect. And I say that we collect. Yes, I say we absolutely should collect. And the reason the black peoples keep getting abused is because They don't get that eye that is owed. These people must pay with a pound of flesh. Shout out to With Ben. He writes, really enjoying the debates against the Muslims and the South Africans. Some of my favorite content you put out. Okay, interesting. And you know, the funny thing, I have to cut up that clip from yesterday because I think it was an important discussion. There was that Saudi Arabian woman, and she came on, and in fact, I might even see if I can play it for you today, and I think it might be very much so worth it. But there's that Saudi Arabian woman, and she came on acting like she was a friend of the blacks. Yes, acting like she was cool with the blacks. And in no time, she was revealed. I can promise you, pretty much all of them are just 2 steps away from saying the N-word. Let you outsmart one of them. Let you get one of them mad. You become an N-word so very quickly, which shows you that they always viewed you in that way. I found it very comical and curious that she started quoting all of the arguments of the white supremacists. And I said, Madam, why are you speaking the talking points of the white supremacists when this has nothing to do with the title? The title of the lecture is, the title of the discussion is, Islam is not for blacks. But somehow, all of a sudden she's talking about black people's IQ, black people's criminality. Well, if you think they're low IQ and they're criminals, why would you want them within your religion? You want them within your religion so that you can control them. Yes, that's why you want them within your religion. You seek control. You think that the blacks should be subject to you. And that is the problem with these people. They think that we are beasts for them to master. And the problem with the blacks is that some of them are so willing to be beasts. Come on now. If you have a question, you can use the information in the banner. I want to yield the floor to some of the folks who are on right now and may have something to say.
Yes, sir. Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints.
Yes, sir. I had, I want to say 3 grievances that I just wanted to throw out there and see which one you might want to pick at. So one being, I wanted to touch on so when the 911 event happened, 9/11,
Yeah.
this might have been like the first time I think I remember there was actually maybe less hate for a black person, um, and was more hate towards this group. And I just see that, and I feel as though that it was really quiet during that time from them. You didn't hear much from them, and I see now they seem to be a lot more outspoken and vocal. So I didn't know if there was anything to that you might notice, but as well, what's up with the black chicks going over there getting pooped on for like 20K or 50K? But that was crazy.
Yeah, so
Let's
number
see.
one, yeah, let's just address those 2 and then we'll let someone else get their
Yes, sir.
points in. So the first item, with regards to hatred, hatred is the most powerful human emotion, and most people are not saintly in nature. Hatred is far more powerful than love, and that's why I always encourage those who are actually good people to make a greater effort to have their love match the level of intensity that the devils exercise hate. For example, you might say that you love a freedom fighter, but you don't do as much for him as the haters do against him. That's number one. Number 2, with regards to the black females heading over to Dubai to become a porta potty, the reason that they do that is because A, and it's a prerequisite, they don't have self-respect, and B, they have been raised to sell their bodies, their soul, and their integrity. And this is very easy to do when you are raised by a single mother and no father. And the reason that I have the training center, which we're fundraising for, is because you actually have to teach these things explicitly. You have to teach the human female the purpose of her life as a woman. You have to teach the human male the purpose of his life as a leader. And these things are not being taught at home and certainly not being taught in the public school system, which is controlled and underfunded by the enemy. I want to yield the floor for anyone else who has any comments, questions, and shout out to Kensuke supporting using the Stripe link in the description of the YouTube video. May I also acknowledge via PayPal. Shout out to Antonio, writes Peace to the Saints, paying tuition. Shout out to those men and women who stand up and make their name known. I yield the floor.
Hello, Marquette. I just wanted to ask a question. It's in regards of like on the side of the Arabs, which is mostly a Muslim world today. I wanted to ask, what is your view on which religion they should adopt? Because given the historical interaction between the Black people and the Arabs, I think there is a question that could be asked on whether it is a good thing for the Muslim world in general to keep Islam as the main religion. Like I'm talking about Sunni Islam in general, but really like the entire world where you have this religion being widely practiced. I wanted to ask, do you think it's a religion that could be kept, or it should change in the future?
Religion represents the underdevelopment of the human being. There are some who are low IQ and there are others who are low EQ. They may be plenty intelligent, but they're emotionally underdeveloped. They do not rely on reason and rationality. And it's important to understand that that which you teach the child in the promise years, the early years, it sticks with them, whether it's reasonable or not. And we must find it funny that we still have religion persisting so strongly in an era where we have greater understanding than we have had in the past. We should also observe that in places where there is underdevelopment, there's a lack of free, quality, compulsory public education, you still have religious education. And that is why we have so much zealotry, which has proven to be dangerous. What do you mean, Marquette? Dangerous. Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, ISIS, dangerous. Yes? The Ku Klux Klan, that's a Christian organization. So the fact of the matter is, we know that this is dangerous, and there have been many words spoken about religion by rulers over the centuries. And Napoleon Bonaparte states that religion is a useful thing for a ruler. And there are so many quotations we could give on religion. I think that our best effort is to have good public schools that are free and accessible to the masses, and to educate those that we can out of religion, such that we can reduce the number of persons who rely on superstition and foolishness. I even hear blacks correcting that which they could never know. You hear blacks say, oh, Jesus wasn't white, Jesus was black. Yeah, okay. So you're arguing over the racial identity of a fictional being. It's kind of as silly as when whites say you can't have a black Santa Claus in the mall. I mean, Santa Claus is fake anyways. What race does it matter if he's black or white or Latino? I don't care if I see a Filipino Santa Claus, because it's not real. And the sad thing is, sometimes I look at there are a lot of clips on Instagram from churches in Nigeria, and you see these fake healings. And I know that the only reason it's working is because this is a preacher in some rural area, and he's taking up tithes, what he's calling tithes, but really it's theft and it's fraud and it's deception. And he's taking money from people who probably really need their money. And they give because they're seeking something more, something greater. Even in the United States, if you look in places like Baltimore, which has a high per capita of churches, and you go inside the churches, there are no young people there. It's just single old black women. That's what's there. And I know because I used to run a nonprofit in Baltimore, and I'd go to the churches initially to fundraise. And then I realized these old black women don't have any money, but that's all that was in the church. Yes? And the reason that they are there is for community, because their families have been broken down, their tribes have been broken down, they're living as individual atoms. And so in the place of religion, the question is, well, what do you fill it with? The Chinese, you don't find that the Chinese are ultra religious. One, because they're coming out of communism. And two, because they also had something like Confucianism, a philosophy. And three, they have something called Chinese school. Every Saturday you go and you get educated on Chinese history and culture. It fills the gap where Sunday school would have been. And for those who are Muslims and go to the masjid on Jummah, or Christians and they go to the church on Sunday, this is why within the Sasson we have our regular workouts. It's a place to come and fellowship. We say exercise is prayer, sweat is the holy water. You see, unlike sitting in your pews for 4 hours listening to some sweaty black fellow scream at the top of his lungs and hear a homosexual play gospel music, you could instead invest in your health and exercise and meet strong men and fellowship and build bonds. That's of much greater value, and that is what must be put in place. And that's why we say Marquettism is for the kids. Marquettism saves lives, because we see that these religions have taken many lives. The Muslim Arabs have taken 20 million lives in their slave trade. The Christians have taken many millions of lives in their transatlantic slave trade. They had slave ships named Jesus. So Marquettism is for the kids. Marquettism saves lives. I yield the floor for the next person who has not had a chance to speak up.
Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints.
Yes, sir. I would like to speak on some of the experience I've had with the Somali Muslims and also Arabs growing up as a Somali. And one of those experiences happened not too long ago, actually in this week, with an Arab guy who I'm pretty sure he was impressed by the way that I was working. I work in a warehouse and we lift heavy packages. I guess not so heavy, it's about 30 to the heaviest is like 35 kilograms. And I basically
in the chat, if the gentleman's voice has gone out for you, please do advise. I cannot hear the gentleman anymore while he's getting his internet together. May I acknowledge Terrence? He writes, what do you think about Sufism, or the inner form of Islam, or mystic version? I don't think anything of it. And what we cannot do as Black people is attempt to recover aspects of these religions. We need to throw them out wholesale. You see, what Blacks will do, because they lack ideas, they lack self-respect, instead of throwing out the white man's Christianity, they'll modify it. They'll say, oh, we're the real Jews, or they'll say the Jesus is Black, or they'll say King James is Black, instead of saying that's not for us. What is truly created for us? What is created by us? So they instead they steal and plagiarize. And I say it's not necessary. There's not so much good there that you need to hold on to it. Having the religion of your enslaver, I find to be very funny. And this is a true statement, whether you're speaking to Islam or you're speaking to Christianity. The Black man would be practicing the religion of his enslaver. And that, my friends, is pathetic. And what I want you guys to understand, and I elaborate on this in the Black Code, is that there will be civil war, ideologically at minimum, and perhaps more as needed within the Black peoples, because we must establish a way, a single way, and any divergence from that must meet drastic sanction and punishment. You see, because we must establish a strong fighting force, especially if you are a minoritized group, such as the foundational Black Americans, who are about 9% of the US population. They report Blacks at 12 to 13%, but that is inclusive of other Black ethnic groups, the Nigerians, the Caribbeans, the Jamaicans, the people from Belize, and all this other stuff. But collectively, 13% is quite insignificant. You will need to be a strong fighting force, which means you'll need true unity. You have to be on the same page. You have to be under a single leader. And that can be done. We will have to apply force. And it is the weakness in the Black character that thinks that Black people can only be organized by an enslaving Arab or a colonizing white man. This is not the case. And as appropriate, we will put an iron fist within a velvet glove to get done what must be done for the ascension of the black peoples. I yield the floor for he who would want it.
So, good evening to everybody in the panel.
Good evening.
I just wanted to ask, what exactly about Islam would it not be for black people? And would you say that it's for somebody else, but just not black people? Anyway.
Islam is an Arab religion, and for the other peoples of the earth, it is up to them to pursue whatever they choose. I speak on behalf of the black people, and so observing that shortly after the advent of Islam, the Arabs enslaved black people for 1,300 years, 20 million Africans enslaved. They would take the boys who were 8 years old, cut off their scrotum and their penis, did this for centuries. They'd plug the hole with an iron nail. They'd pack them in sand up to their chest. They'd dehydrate them so that they don't use the restroom and cause a urinary tract infection. The death rate in creating eunuchs, which is to say castrating children, was 90%. They did this to blacks. They didn't do this to the Europeans. They didn't do this to their own kind. They specifically targeted the blacks. And they did this for a long, long while, many moons. So, do I take that seriously? Yes, I do. That is hatred of the highest order. Would you want to follow a religion where the holy land of Mecca and Medina had your people in bondage even as eunuchs, which would mean that it is condoned? Would you want to follow a religion like that?
So, producing units is not really, it's not allowed in Islam. It's completely
Young man,
allowed, so.
Use your brain and answer the question I asked you.
That doesn't have anything to do with religion.
You guys have no integrity. I asked you a question and you will not respond to the question. You're here to cover over your crimes. And the reason that you have not been punished for your crimes is because the excess goodness and kindness of the black people. And what ethnicity are you?
African.
Okay, you fool. African is not an ethnicity. Africa is a continent, you see. Even if you said Nigerian, that really wouldn't properly be an ethnicity. You might want to go down to the tribe level. So I'll try it again, you liar.
I could tell you I'm from the Bamung ethnic tribe in Cameroon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, you silly black. Do you know anything about yourself?
That's emotional.
You silly black. Do you know anything about yourself?
Like what?
Like what was your religion before the Muslims brought Islam to you with the sword?
Ancestral worship.
Pardon?
Animism. Ancestral worship, animism.
Well, tell me more. It sounds like you're just saying something you read on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I wouldn't naturally know a lot about it, but...
You said you wouldn't naturally know a lot about it. So that means that your family is completely broken down and your grandparents didn't teach anything to their children, and then their children didn't teach anything to you.
They're all Muslims.
Are you stupid? Are you not tracking the conversation? My point is that your history was stolen from you, doofus, and your grandparents, your ancestors, did not know what was before them because it was disconnected, severed with the sword of the Arabs.
My question is, what does the action of the Arabs have to do with Islam in particular?
Okay,
You
that's
know,
a
Islam
good.
is
Let
not
me
just
help you
whatever the
out. Let me
Arabs do.
help you
Islam is
out. So you asked me, what do Arabs have to do with Islam? Is that what you just asked me?
I'm asking, what does the action of particular Arabs have to do with Islam? What does it have to do with what the
Okay.
Quran, the Sunnah teaches?
Okay,
Because that's what
great,
Islam is.
great. So you're asking me, what do the actions of Arabs have to do with Islam? Correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, silly African. Now, what do the actions of Arabs have to do with Islam? Well, it has everything to do with Islam. The actions of Arabs. The Arabs wrote the Quran. The
But
Arabs.
is it possible
Shut
that the
up!
actions
You
go
asked me a
against the
question,
Quran?
you fool. Shut up!
Okay. Okay.
Are you dumb? You ask me a question, then start talking? What is wrong with you people? This is why you guys are so easy to conquer. You're arguing on behalf of a religion that hates you. Have you ever been to Saudi Arabia, little African?
It doesn't matter.
I
You should
didn't
ask me
ask
about
you
the
if it
Quran. What
mattered.
about
I didn't
Saudi
ask
Arabia?
you I didn't ask you if it mattered, you lying rascal. I said, have you ever been to Saudi Arabia is the question.
I've never been to Saudi Arabia.
Okay, very good. Now, you little African, if you went to Saudi Arabia, do you think that they would treat you with the same respect that they would treat an Arab Muslim?
I don't know, and it doesn't matter. That's the point.
It
You
doesn't
read the Quran,
matter.
didn't you?
It doesn't matter.
Did you read the Quran?
Did you read the Quran? Did you read the Quran? Yes, I've actually lectured on the Quran. The Quran does not matter, buddy.
Then what is the basis of Islam then? If the Quran doesn't matter.
So work with me here. Answer these questions quickly if you don't mind. So, when was the Quran revealed? From whom and to whom?
From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Prophet sallallahu in the 7th
See,
century.
little silly African, you are wrong already. It was from the angel Jibril, wasn't it? Huh, silly
Yeah,
African?
the angel Jibril is a messenger.
No. You were wrong. Admit that you were wrong.
Okay, I was wrong. I could also say that it actually came from the Lawh al-Mahfuz and all of these things, but
No.
to spare you
You
the
were
details, I said Allah
wrong.
subhanahu
You
wa
were
ta'ala.
wrong. You were wrong. Stop
You're not teaching me
lying.
anything right now.
I'm
I
not
wanna
here to
simplify
teach you.
things
I'm
so
not
that
here to
vision goes
teach you
quickly.
because you're just a silly African. You're just a silly African.
Then
You
why are you
see,
saying I'm wrong? If you
the
know,
best.
I know what I know
No,
what you're
you
saying right
don't
now.
know anything. I said
So I
from
didn't
whom
know that
to
the Quran
whom.
was revealed through the intermediary of Jibreel alayhi salam.
Right,
And I
but
didn't
you
know that.
said no. You said Allah, and then I had to correct you, silly African. So this is my point about your lack of IQ. And then once you were corrected, now you want to act like you're knowledgeable. Well, we've already exposed that you're not even knowledgeable on your own religion, or you have poor recall. Something's wrong with you. But let's go on to the next question. Don't stop stuttering. Stop stuttering,
who is revealing
African.
it? Is it Jibreel or
African, stop stuttering. Now let's go on to the next question, African. So we've established that the angel Jibreel revealed the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be
He
upon him.
conveyed the Quran. He did not reveal it.
Wait, what did he do?
He conveyed it. He did not reveal it.
Oh, what is the meaningful difference there, silly African?
Is that the message does not come from Jibreel. It comes from God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't come from Jibreel.
No, silly African, stay focused. You said he conveyed it. He did not reveal it. Explain the difference. Why the silence, silly African?
The message does not originate from Jibreel. That's the difference.
No one ever said that, you fool. No one ever
fine,
said that.
okay.
So since you're an Islamic scholar, you said your parents were Muslims, your parents' were Muslims, which all that means is that they've been overcome by foreigners and that they're victims of Arab supremacy. They don't even know their own religions. They didn't teach them to you. It's really sad, actually. But let's get back on topic. So now we got that basic covered. What does Quran mean? What does that mean linguistically?
The recitation.
The recitation. That's right, silly African. Now, it was a recitation, and it was given all at once or was given over time?
Over time.
Over time. Please enunciate. Thank you. Yes, it was given over
It was
time.
revealed through a period of 23 years.
It was
in different
revealed.
circumstances through the life of the Prophet.
Aha. So it was revealed over a period of 23 years, correct? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, African. Now, let me ask you this. Was it written down right when it was revealed?
No.
No. Okay.
Part of it were, but largely no.
When was it written down, African?
A couple of years after the death of the Prophet.
Stop mumbling and speak clearly.
I said a couple years after the death of the Prophet, but
How many is
the
a
accounts
couple?
may vary.
You see, a couple is
From a couple years to a
two.
couple of decades.
Aha. You said a couple of years to a couple of decades. Thank you. So you were lying before. Thank you for correcting that. Got you. So you said a couple of decades. Now, let me ask you a question. You ever forgotten something the same day? In your life experience, have you ever forgotten something the same day?
Yeah.
Yes or no? You're speaking to a man. I'm not your friend.
Yes.
Excellent. So if you've forgotten something on the same damn day, you don't think writing down the words of someone else 30 years after they were said, you think that was just a perfect record? That's what you think?
When it comes to the Quran, yes.
Oh, when it comes to the Quran, yes. Great. And that lets me know you're a religious zealot and you're an imbecile, because that's impossible. Human beings are not human beings are not
forget
fallible.
over 30 years.
Oh my, silly religious boy.
Imagine
religious
hundreds of people memorizing the Quran.
Silly
How many
religious boy.
how do you think that errors are going to seep in if everybody
And
read the same book?
You know the funny
It's
thing?
that easy to memorize.
Oh,
I can't forget it in
well,
30
let me ask
years.
you a question, silly African boy. Do the Shia Muslims and the Sunni Muslims have the exact same Quran?
The Shias have the exact same Quran as us, but they do believe it is corrupted, but they have the same Quran as us right now. Sorry.
So it's word for word the exact same Quran that the Shia Muslims and the Sunni Muslims have. Is that correct?
I don't know much about the Shias, but maybe that's one of the things you did
I see.
But the Quran is the same.
Hold on one second. You seem like you're not certain. Will you admit that you don't know? That's probably the right answer. You don't know. Thank you.
I don't know about
But why'd you pretend to know before I pointed that out?
Did I?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I said I believe it is the same.
I believe. We didn't ask you what you believe. We asked you what you know, because you're positioning yourself as a knower. Now, anyways, carrying on. So the Quran is perfect and it's completely uncorrupted, yet you have two different sects of Islam. You have Shia Islam and Sunni Islam. How'd that happen? If it's one book, word for word, and the Quran is perfect, how'd that happen?
What happened? The difference between the Sunnis
just
and the
say what you have to say, please.
Can you let me build my argument?
No, sir. You were raised a Muslim. You should already know this. You don't need to think about it.
The difference between the Shias and the Sunnis is not based on the Quran.
That's really interesting. Huh? What's it based on?
History.
That's really interesting.
And theology.
Huh. Let me ask you a question, silly African. It doesn't bother you that your people were enslaved by your religion?
They were not.
So you're going to lie, huh? You're going to lie?
My specific people were not enslaved by the Arabs.
Oh, okay. So are you a part of the Bantu peoples or no?
No.
You don't have any Bantu blood in you?
Maybe a little.
Maybe
but
a little.
No.
So is it no, yes, or maybe a little?
Maybe a little, but largely no. I haven't done the DNA test, obviously, so I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. Gotcha. Fantastic. So do you consider yourself, you must consider yourself African, because earlier today I asked you what your ethnicity is, and instead of saying a specific ethnicity, you errantly said African, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. So you identify as an African, correct?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So let me repose this for you, silly African. The Africans were enslaved for 1,300 years by the Muslims. That does not bother you that your people were enslaved?
The fact that Arabs enslaved Africans does
I
bother
didn't,
me,
no,
but
sir. No, sir.
I
I did not
don't
say
link it to
Arabs.
Islam.
I said Muslims, boy.
No, it doesn't bother me then. Because I know it's not racially based, so it doesn't bother me.
Oh, it's not racially based. Is that true? Is that
100%
true?
true. It's not slavery in Islam. It's not racially based.
Oh, poor thing, poor thing, poor
If
thing.
you want to mock me, point out a hadith that says that only black people may be enslaved in Islam.
Now,
Because we're talking about
you
Islam at the
poor
end of the day,
thing,
not Arabs.
you poor thing. How about this? In Islamic history, including your hadith, would you name for me one black slave?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead. Name one. We know who you're going to name. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Bilal.
Thank you. We knew that. Now, I have a challenge for you. You see, because most of the Islamic history is based on Arabs, correct? Overwhelmingly. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes or no? I'm not your friend, my dear boy.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Father should have taught you that. Now, name one Arab slave. I'll wait. I got time tonight. Take your time. Don't Google, don't search anything. Just name me one Arab slave. I got time. Do, 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 do. Silly African, you can't name one Arab slave?
Ayman.
Now, let me check if you're an honest person. And I want the whole Twitter space, I want everyone on YouTube to pay attention to this. We're about to test if he's honest, because I know exactly what he did, ladies and saints. I know exactly what he did. You see, he doesn't realize that I'm 5 steps ahead. Silly African, I'm about to ask you a question, and it's going to test your integrity and your honesty as a man, and if you like, as a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you tell the truth, because if you lie, we will already know that you're lying. We heard 30 seconds of silence. You are not jogging your memory, because you have no memory of an Arab slave. So I'm going to ask you, where did you get that claim from?
Which one?
I asked you to name one Arab slave, and there was 30 seconds of radio silence. And then you blurted something out hurriedly. Where did you get that name from?
The seed of the Prophet.
Where did you get that name from?
The seed of the Prophet.
Young man, where did you get that name from just now? How'd you find that name?
From the seed of the Prophet.
No, sir, you're lying. You just searched it on your computer.
You would have heard it if I was typing.
So you're going to sit here and lie to us. You think that we all are fools. That's your integrity as a Muslim? I asked you the question.
How do you know that I was looking at my computer? How do you know?
I ask you a
You
question.
can't even see me. You're a liar here.
Young man. I
My hands
ask
were closed the whole time. You're a liar. You're lying.
You, sir, have no integrity. And I always tell my followers, do not try to lie to those who are more intelligent than you are. It's very hard to do. You see, I set a trap for you, and you walked into the trap. You've been checkmated, but you're too stupid to know that you've been checkmated. And now there are thousands of people listening to this on YouTube. And every one of them knows, shut up. Every one of them knows that you're lying. You did not know that name. That's why you took 30 seconds to answer my question, young man. You searched
Because
it
it's
on
a
your
story
computer.
that I heard a long time ago. That's
No,
why I
sir.
was taking
No,
time.
sir. No, sir.
How? You don't even know me. How do you know that I haven't heard the story?
It does not take a young man 30 seconds to remember something that he knows.
If I'm being put on the spot, yes.
No, sir. You're lying. Because here's the difference.
Fine, I'm lying.
Did it take you 30 seconds
Fine. I'm lying.
Did it take you 30 seconds to remember the name of a black slave?
Because everybody keeps talking about, so obviously I wouldn't forget.
Uh-huh. Fascinating. Now, let me ask you this. There were 20 million blacks enslaved by your Muslim religion. Would you be kind enough to recount to me how many millions of Arabs were enslaved by your Muslim religion?
There were Arabs enslaved by other Muslims, but I don't know the exact number.
Fantastic. Tell me the number.
I just said I didn't know the exact numbers. Even for the blacks, I didn't know until you told me.
Uh-huh. Let me ask you a question. If it was not based on race, I'm going to repeat that to you, silly African. If the Muslims were not enslaving the blacks in particular based on race, why is it that the blacks were enslaved instead of them just enslaving each other?
What?
What?
I didn't hear you. Sorry,
What?
can you repeat?
You heard me. Why
No, I
is
didn't.
it that the Arabs went out of their way to go to foreign lands to enslave the blacks instead of enslaving one another?
Because of expansion. Expansionism.
Expansionism, Arab supremacy, yes. But that doesn't answer the question, you doofus. Expansionism is not the answer, you see, because expansionism is not slavery. Slavery is different. So what I asked you is if it had nothing to do with race and it was just they needed some slaves, why didn't they enslave each other?
Well, they did.
Well, since you sound so confident, you dumb fuck, how many Arabs did they enslave? You lying fuck.
Even if I don't know the number, does it prove that it didn't happen?
It proves that you're lying and you're making up things because you're emotionally attached to having Arab schlongs in your mouth, boy. Because if you knew from study, like I know from study, you'd be able to tell me some facts. But you have zero facts because you don't know. You're hoping. You're using hope, dweeb. That's why I tell you it was 20 million, because I've studied. I tell you
So
that
are you claiming that
one.
no
Shut
Arabs
up
were
when I'm
enslaved by other
talking.
Arabs
Shut up
throughout
while
the
I'm
whole history?
talking. I tell you that it was 1,300 years because I studied. I can describe to you the way they created eunuchs of black boys because I've studied, you see. And in your case, you've not studied. So you should ask yourself, why are you so bent on defending the Arabs when you've not read one single book about this? Tell me that.
I'm not defending the Arabs.
Yes,
I'm
you
defending
are.
my religion, Islam.
Your religion is an Arab religion, boy.
So are you claiming that no Arabs was enslaved throughout the whole Muslim history? Is that what you're claiming?
Young man, you have a burden of proof.
Is that what you're claiming? Answer.
You have a burden
You're not
of
honest.
proof, and you don't
You
know
have the burden.
anything. You're an imbecile.
I said that it wasn't race-based.
Yes,
They
you
enslaved
fucking
white
fool.
people,
And I
they enslaved
asked you
Persians
how
and
many
other
Arabs were enslaved.
The fact that I don't know the whole number does not mean that it didn't happen.
No, it's not the fact that you don't know the number. It's the fact that you don't know anything because you're lying. What I'm asking you is to tell me what you know. You're telling me it wasn't based on race. I'm saying my research indicates that it is. The historiography indicates that it is. So if you're going to counter it, you're making an argument. You must substantiate an argument with evidence. Or reference a scholar who's done so. Shut up while I'm speaking, silly African. Silly African, shut your mouth while I'm speaking. Now, I'm asking you, name one book Name one article that you've read on this topic. One.
So civilized.
Name
If you
one
listen
book.
to the
Young
seerah of the
man.
Prophet ﷺ, you
No,
will-
sir.
will
No, sir. I'm
stumble
asking you to
upon
name
so many
one
Arab
book.
slaves.
That's fine. I'm asking you to name one book that you've read on the topic. Name one article, reference one scholar.
On the topic of Arab slavery.
Yes.
Except apart from the seerah, I don't have any source. I'm going to be
The
honest.
Sirah is not a source, you doofus. So you have zero sources. So what you're telling me is that you've not done any research. So what I'm asking you, as a reasonable man, how could you have such a strong opinion on something you don't know anything about?
It's not that I don't know anything. I don't know enough of it to know the number.
No, you don't know
but I it
anything.
did
And
happen
and
for
with
a
that
fact.
African accent, it just makes you sound even dumber. Like being dumb is one thing, and then having an African accent while being dumb makes you sound even dumber.
Oh, the champion of the blacks is mocking the African accent.
Yes, I am. The 100%. You sound
Even
dumb.
appointed you as an authority about black people, by the way.
More importantly, you have exposed yourself to be a dumb lackey of the Arab Muslims because you're arguing on their behalf with literally zero evidence. You've done no research whatsoever. You're telling me that Arabs were enslaved, and I'm saying, okay, well, where'd you get that idea? Tell me one book, one article, one scholar, and you have zero. So how can you be confident of anything when you have zero references? That means you're lying. That means you're making up things, doofus. So of course you deserve no respect.
Let me ask you something.
You don't need to ask anything except for knowledge because you have none. You don't get to interrogate me when you come here empty-handed.
Do you know about the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ exchanging one African slave for two Arab slaves?
You dweeb. You need to go. Are you in America? Are you really in America? Because I want you deported. I want you deported. I want ICE on your doorstep.
Blacks will be deported.
I do.
Okay, fine.
I want you deported. And I'll tell you why I want you deported. Because we do not need to accept immigrants who are a weight to our society. You're obviously not one of the intelligent blacks. It's clear. You can't even make a reference to an academic article, a book, or a scholar. So it shows that you have no intelligence and no education. You see, if you had education, if you went to university, they would teach you about substantiating arguments with evidence. And you're unable to do that. You keep going back to your fairy tales. And here's the comedy. Even if we were having this conversation as two Muslim clerics, you still have to avoid using hadith because sometimes the chain of the hadith is weak. And so a lot of Muslims don't even consider hadith.
The hadith that was about to quote.
It doesn't matter, you fool, because we're not discussing hadith. We're discussing academic sources because you are making an argument, a secular argument. You're not making an argument about religion. You're making an argument about the behaviors of Muslims. You're not making an argument about Islam.
I'm saying that.
Just admit that you don't know. You stupid child. You stupid child. Just admit that you lied and you don't know anything about Arab slavery. I'll give you 5 seconds.
Is slavery racially based in Islam? I'm talking about Islam. I don't care
No,
about
sir.
the Arab.
No, sir. Now you're moving the goalposts. We will not allow it. You said
I've
that
been
the
saying from the
practice.
beginning, I do
Silence,
not care
silence,
what the
silly
Arabs do,
African.
what the Arabs
Silence,
did, and what
silly
the Arabs are
African.
gonna do. I don't care.
Silly African.
I don't care. I'm
Silence.
asking you if slavery
You're
is racially
repeating
based
yourself.
in
Silence, you
Islam.
silly African. Now, admit that you claimed.
Make me shut up.
Admit that you claimed the Arabs were enslaving the Arabs, and you have no evidence for that claim.
Yes, I did claim it, and it is true.
Sir, you have no evidence. Admit that you have lied. You have no evidence, young man.
During the wars of conquest of Mecca, when the Prophet ﷺ returned in Mecca, so many Arab women and so many Arab men were taken as slaves.
Sir.
That alone is a fact.
Sir, that's a fact.
Before they became Muslims.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second, silly boy. That's a fact?
Yes,
that's a fact.
It is a fact.
Okay. Where did you learn that? In what academic source? Name a scholar, a journal, or a book.
I attended class on the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ.
You are so stupid. And everyone listening, this is why religious people you can't reason with them. This is why there's only really one solution. This guy's too stupid.
Can you point to one source that said that
he keeps on repeating himself.
Islam?
He keeps repeating himself. He's completely stupid. He doesn't understand anything.
Is slavery racially based in Islam? That's my point.
You're too stupid. Do your parents?
Is it
Your
racially
parents
based
are.
or is it
How
not?
did you get in my
Stop being
country? No,
emotional.
real quick.
How old are you, brother?
How did
old
you?
are you?
I'm not your brother.
What's so
You're too
emotional?
low IQ. You're too low IQ. I'm not your brother. My DNA is
Fine,
superior
it's
to
true.
yours.
It's true. You're right.
Now,
I'm not your brother.
Yeah, you're not my brother.
How old are
You're
you?
a dirty
Why are you so
tether.
emotional?
Now, tell me this: how did you get in this country? Was it chain migration?
Green card. But it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter because I need to know. We need to stop. No, sir. We need to stop people like you getting in here. We need to stop people like you getting in.
Stay on the topic.
You're not smart enough to debate me. You're not smart enough. We can't debate. You're not smart. You're not smart, kid.
Yes or no?
Kid, you're not smart. I can't debate you.
Yes or no?
I can't debate you. You're not smart.
Yes or no? That's my only question to you.
We can't talk because you're not intelligent.
I'm not your son. I'm not your son. I'm not your son.
You're not intelligent. We cannot talk. You do not have any level of intelligence. None.
So if I'm
you
so
should
dumb,
be somewhere.
if I'm so dumb,
you should be somewhere
now,
flinging goat dung onto your family members.
Yes or no?
You should be in some hut somewhere.
I'm so dumb.
You should be somewhere in a hut flinging cow dung. You should be somewhere in a hut rubbing cow feces onto your face. This is what you should be doing. I don't know how you got in this country. You're not.
You shouldn't
smart
make
at
this
all.
argument as a sentence of a slave. You shouldn't make this argument. It's a really bad.
Why do you have this terrible accent? At what age did you move to the United States? At what age?
16.
Okay, you couldn't fix this accent? How old are you now? This accent is
21.
terrible. Bro, you got to knock it off with this accent. Listen, wherever you are in America, listen to the people around you. Listen to on the topic. We can't debate. You're not intelligent.
Guys,
son, I can't debate you. You're not intelligent.
The blacks.
We cannot debate you because you're too stupid.
You're
asking me to debate you, but you're too stupid. So all I can do is degrade you because you discuss me.
I'm going to go away. Slavery really business.
You'll go away regardless because you're a peasant and a peon, and I'll just hang up on you. You don't matter. You're completely confused.
Yeah, because you're scared.
You have no importance.
You're running. Hang up then.
You have low IQ.
He's scared. He's scared.
You can't name one book, one article, one author. You keep going back and saying, the Seerah of Islam. You can't name one academic source. And that lets me know that you're making up things from your emotions because you've done no research.
Can you name me one academic source that said that slavery
you're an imbecile. You're an imbecile. I can name you 20 sources.
You're talking about my religion.
It's not your religion, dummy. It's an Arab religion.
I'm not even asking you.
You don't even know what your religion is. Young African, you don't know what your religion is. You're practicing an Arab's religion. Yes?
Is slavery really based in Islam, yes or no?
You're too stupid, son. You're just too stupid. But before you go, let me tell you this.
Answer a simple question. You went to university. You went to
silly
Berkeley. You went to Johns Hopkins.
That's right. Silly
Why
African.
is this answer a simple question?
You have
answer
to
the question,
remember.
silly.
You're too stupid. I got to get this guy out here. He's too stupid. He's too stupid.
One simple question you couldn't answer. Okay, I'm too stupid. I guess I'll.
What's your name?
For you to answer a simple question, yes or no.
What is your name? I got to find your name so I can remove you from the conversation. You're too stupid. Is it Kamal? Did you put your name as Kamal?
That's my name.
Okay. That's not your
name.
You're
scared. Okay, kick me out. Kick me out. Fine. You're scared.
That's not your name, silly African. You're Cameroonian. Kamal is a name of an Arab, you silly little black. Kamal is an Arab name.
I can tell you my tribal name, but you're not worthy of pronouncing my tribal name,
Kamal
so leave me alone.
Kamal is an Arab name, you silly little black. You're ashamed of
I have
who
a
you
tribal
are.
name, which I will not tell you.
No, son. It's too late. You called yourself an Arab name, and that just lets us know everything we need to know about you. It's my whole point.
Don't you know that people have multiple names?
No, sir. People do not have multiple names. No, sir.
Well, what's your full name?
You named yourself after an Arab voluntarily.
What's the full name?
You see, the funny thing is that in Islam, you're not required to change your name. You see, that's something that you did to negate the self. In Islam,
I didn't even choose my name.
Silence, boy. In Islam, some people change their names because they had offensive names. That's why they changed their names. You see, and the practice of changing your name to an Arabic name is something that only shows submission to Arab supremacy. It does not show anything Islamic about you. And the
I
reason
did
that you
not
shut
choose
up
my
interrupting me, dirty African. Now, the reason that
Racist, you dirty
you
racist.
dirty African, shut your mouth. The
You dirty
reason that
racist. You
you
racist.
dirty
You
African,
racist rap.
silence. The reason that you have an Arab name is because you hate yourself and you feel inferior. So you don't use your
I
true
did
name.
not choose my name.
You don't have an African name because you've chosen to
I do have an
imitate
African name. I have
Arabs.
multiple names. I do have an African name. I did just choose my first name. So I don't
Wait,
even
hold
know
on
why
one
you're
second.
getting
Hold on
on
one
me for
second,
this
young
right now.
man. Are you an Arab?
No,
No. Why do you have an Arab name then?
I don't know.
I
didn't
agree.
choose my name.
That's the first thing you said that was correct. I don't know. You're just another lost African, and it's okay. It's okay. You're just another lost African. You don't know. You don't know yourself. You don't know your history. You don't know your culture. You don't know your future. You don't know your past. You are lost. And you're here fighting tooth and nail for the Arab. And the funny thing is the Arab would not fight tooth and nail for you, but they'd fight tooth and nail against you. And they do. They do this in Sudan, you see. They do this in the
My
Congo,
allegiance
you
is not for
see.
the Arabs. My allegiance is to the Muslims. I
There's no
don't care
such
about
thing
the
as
Arabs. I
the
already told you this.
Muslims. There's no such thing as the Muslims. You're
There's
a
no such thing as the
fool.
Muslims. So that's what we are. That's where we are right now. There's no such thing as a Muslim.
There's no such thing. The Muslims? No, there's no such thing. You're referring to the Ummah? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, the Ummah of the Muslims.
Okay. Now, so the Ummah of the Muslims, are the Muslims supposed to protect each other? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that. Okay, great. So how many Muslims are there? Are there at least 1 billion Muslims?
Yes, there are.
Far more than 1 billion, right?
Yes.
Okay, now let me prove my point, you dimwit. How many Israelis are there? Come on. How many Israelis are there? If you don't know, just say you don't know. It's okay.
That 9 million, something like that. 9 million.
Did you look that up?
No.
Something like 9 million. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Are you ready to be honest?
Yes.
If the Muslims and the Ummah are real, meaning a group, and as you yourself admitted, they're supposed to fight for each other, how is it that, as you said, 9 million Israelis are able to stand against over 1 billion Muslims? Marquette, what's the example? We call it Gaza. We call it Palestine. So with your Israelis being at 9 million, according to you, and your Muslims being well in excess of 1 billion, how come 1 billion people can't defeat 9 million? Answer that for me, silly African boy.
Because of our wahan.
Let me make this simpler for you, silly African. So
Already answered.
No, sir. Let me make this simple for you, silly African. You said that the Muslims and the Ummah is a real thing. It's a real group. So if it's a real group and you yourself said they're supposed to protect each other, if they're supposed to protect each other and there are over 1 billion of them.
They're supposed to.
Yes.
That's not what they're
right.
doing right now, but they're supposed to.
So now we're playing games. You see, the reason that they're not doing it is because Islam's not real.
It's because of the
what
wahan. The Prophet already told us what was going to happen. We know why
I am
we're
the
like
prophet.
this.
I am the prophet, and I'm telling you right now that the reason they're not doing anything is
You're not a prophet, you're a rat.
because the Ummah is not real, and the Muslim community is not real, and they don't care about anyone except themselves. That's why it's not happening. It's all fake. It's all fake. And you know, the interesting thing about it is that the Palestinians, whom my heart goes out to, I've supported them over the decade. And this is not a new thing. You see, I started supporting the Palestinian cause in 2012. I was fresh out of graduate school. And so this has been going on for a long time, and the Muslims just pretty much have not lifted a finger. So we're talking about the Sunni Muslims, which is what you are. This proves that your ummah is fake. Your Quran is fake. The reference to jihad and ummah are fake. And you can make every excuse for the
How exactly does
behavior.
it logically make the Quran fake? Do you know anything about religion, how theology works?
Yes, it's fake. I know
How
exactly
does
how
the
it works. I'll
Partisan
explain to
suffering
you. I'll
make
explain to you. Shut
Allah
up. I'll explain to you.
non-existent?
I'll explain it to you. The way that it works is that it's similar to the way the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus works. You tell children about it when they're very young. And because they're very young and impressionable and they trust authority figures, their parents, they believe. And the only difference between the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus is that at some point, people tell you it's bullshit. But at no point will your parents tell you that your religion is bullshit. And so as a result, you continue believing. And that is why you irrationally argue against me. You rail against me because it's your feelings. It was wired into you when you were very young. And that's why it's impossible to pull out. So the only thing that we could do to change your mind would be to like remove your brain from your skull. Yes? So that's really the only option. Talking to you is useless. And no matter how much we point out to you that your Quran has done nothing, that your ummah doesn't exist, that your jihad on behalf of the Muslims is phony, even in the suffering of the Palestinians, it's like you pretend it's not happening and you say, oh, well, I can explain that. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, okay, buddy. The Quran said ummah, but there's no ummah. The Quran said jihad, but you're not engaging in jihad. So what is real? None of it. That's what's real. None of it.
That does not logically follow. What logically follows is that we are
You're
not
a
following
religious
the Quran
person
and we are not
talking
following
about
the Quran
logic.
fully.
Be serious. You're a religious person talking about logic. That's silly. Don't do that. You sound foolish.
You think that me disobeying the Quran makes the Quran not real? You're the foolish one.
You're a fool.
Well, I'm going to forget about I'm going to ignore the fact that you refuse to answer one simple question about Islamic history. And you'll be ranting and wailing and changing the topic like 5 times by now. I asked you one simple question: is slavery racially based in
You're a
Islam?
low IQ
You
person.
run away. You ask me questions about Gaza and Sudan,
being
which
so
I answered
confident.
gladly. I'm asking you one question
You've
about
not
slavery
answered
in Islam, and
you've
you
not
run
answered
and
anything
wail and
because
keep
you don't have
insulting
any. You don't have any knowledge, young man. I asked you to name one source, one academic source, one author, one scholar, one journal article, one book. You couldn't name one single source that gave
I'm not
any
the one
notes.
that's here to educate you. I'm not the one that's here to educate you. You're spreading misinformation online and you're asking me to fix you up.
No, sir.
Without looking at Google. Why
No,
would I
sir.
do that to you? Who are you?
No, sir. You're ignorant and you're trying to pretend that you know things that you don't know. It's just your feelings, and that's a problem again with religious people. You use your feelings.
Why don't I have the
like for
opportunity to
example,
teach
with
you about
me,
slavery in Islam?
you
You're hopping
there's-
online and you are telling me all these things and you want
you're
me
a
to
silly
do
African.
the contrary.
You're a silly African and no one believes you. You're an utter liar. We heard you lie earlier
How
when I
of the
asked
things that
you.
you said since
I
I'm up
asked
in
you to
these
name
trees
one
are
Arab
insults.
slave.
This is a
I asked
very
you to-
bad look for somebody that went to
I
the
asked
University
you
of
to
California,
name
Berkeley,
one.
John
Sir,
Hopkins.
Sir,
You're
we know
college
that you're a
educated.
fan. We know you're a fan. You're naming my credentials, which are excellent, and that only verifies that I'm intellectually superior to you. So
Then
you don't
answer
need
the question. If
you don't need to
are intelligent
remind
superior,
you
answer
don't
the
need to
question.
remind
You
the
can even
people.
Google if you want to.
You're too stupid. Let me get this guy out of here. These Africans are too brainless.
You're on preacher mode. You're
Too brainless, these ones. Let's see if we have any Arabs in here. Do we have any real Arabs instead of the fake Arab? We got the fake Arab defending Islam. We had the bootlicker Arab. Do we have a real Arab to defend Islam? I'm going to yield the floor. And those African accents, like, God damn it. Listen, and you guys might be thinking, Marquette, that's racist. You racist, Marquette. You racist. No, that's not racist. What I'm basically saying is if you speak English, you should speak English with an English accent. Pick an accent, American or British, or even Australian, maybe. But don't speak English with an African accent. It's not an African language, you see. Just like when I speak Spanish, I don't speak Spanish with a African accent. I don't speak Spanish with a German accent. I don't speak Spanish with an American accent. I speak Spanish with a Spanish accent. So no, it's not racism. It's just I'm basically saying that your brain is inferior. You cannot control your tongue to properly sound like you should. You sound stupid. That's all I'm saying. Respectfully, you sound stupid. And it's very common among you people. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I yield the floor.
Speaking of accent. Hello?
Yes.
Oh, Marquette, thanks a lot for having me on your platform. I didn't know if I was speaking or not, but I wanted to challenge the gentleman, the Kamel, who talked about his people not having been enslaved by the Arabs. He said it was from the Bamum Kingdom, and research articles actually show that his people were enslaved by King Ibrahim Joya, which was a very famous king from his region. And they were engaged in the trans-Arab slave trade, okay? And yeah, accents, right?
I'm
African. I'm African as well, but I just want to challenge him on that because we have entries, several articles in the what we call the MDPI, Multidisciplinary Digital, Printing Institute. They have several.
I think the gentleman's internet connection went out. That's a pity. Maybe he'll be back. But while we're waiting on that, may I acknowledge some of the folks coming in via Super Chat. Shout out to JC. He writes, one of the good things about the Jews is that they don't proselytize, and because of that, they remain the Navy SEAL of all religions economically. Well, they can't proselytize because they're basing their religion on blood ties, yes? So it's a part of
So
their
that's the
supremacy.
first thing. Hello.
Your internet connection is going in and out.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But did you hear the last thing I said about his people of the Bamum Kingdom were actually traded as slaves to the Arabs? So that was a lie. Then the second thing I wanted to ask him directly is, in a millennia of Islam having arrived in Africa, like in the 11th century, what has Islam done for Africa? Can you point out one positive thing that you can say, this thing can be attributed to Islam in Africa? I really want him to answer that question. Show me one thing, because I'm from next door. I'm from Nigeria, next door, across the border, quite close to where he's from. Mm-hmm. And we have the same kind of problems today with terrorism and everything. So I want him to tell us one thing that Islam has done that is positive to our people.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We had to get him out of here because he was just repeating silly things. But I don't think he could have answered either of those questions, and I appreciate you sharing both of those questions. And again, shout out to Cameroon, shout out to Nigeria, shout out to all of the Africans. One thing I will assure you guys of, if someone is against code, I view them as an enemy and I will completely degrade them. And under better, more favorable circumstances, I would do much worse. And that is how we must deal with all enemies, with no respect, no tolerance, extreme prejudice, with all enemies. And he is an enemy. The moment a black man starts advocating for Arab supremacy, even harder than Arabs do, he is the enemy. And I appreciate those intelligent questions and pieces of insight. Shout out to Badman, writes Peace of the Saints. May I also acknowledge Thomas, writes, his Twitter account says, based in Cote d'Ivoire. He's not in America, so much for an honest Muslim. Oh yeah, I already knew he was lying. That accent was way too strong. Shout out to Yo-Yo supporting the work, came in by
internet,
super chat. May I also acknowledge Lord, he writes, Muslimness really isn't a religion.
Anyway, I don't know if you can hear me. I want to thank you, Marquette, for letting me speak here, and I'll have to do something about my internet because I'm not hearing anything from your side. I don't know if you can hear me talking.
I hear you. I appreciate it.
There's a long silence here.
Yes, we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me. Thank you.
Goodbye. Lord writes, really isn't a religion. It's a political party trying to gaslight others into accepting the evil behavior of said party. Peace of the saints. And also acknowledge terrific. He writes, one thing about your debate, so I enjoy us cooking these fools. I appreciate that. And shout out to the folks supporting the work. May I also acknowledge via Venmo. Mr. Chambliss writes, I remember watching a broadcast of an interview with Saeed Morandi. Morandi was saying that it was good that Iran was silent for 3 months during the ceasefire so Iran could learn how the enemy operated. Is this true, or was Iran low on supplies? Well, there's no doubt that Iran needed to rebuild at some level. Of course, they're contending with the world's greatest power militarily, and that's just a matter of fact. Even with corruption, the amount America spends is astronomical. And so, yes, of course, they needed to do some rebuilding and re-strategizing. Personally, I think that if Iran had enough munitions, missiles, drones, and their satellites and defense systems were in order, then it would have been wise for them to persist and not accept that MOU, because really they had the United States government in the position that they wanted them, on the ropes. And in letting the United States government off of the ropes, really they have weakened their position in the short term. Iran has to fight a war of attrition. They will. And Donald Trump will continue pressing on, largely because of the Israelis. So this will be a longer war. There will be no peace in the Middle East as long as the pariah state of Israel exists. And that is what we can expect. And for those of us on the sidelines, the best we can do is root for Iran and also figure out how we can make some money as this goes on. I sold all of my stock in these blood-related companies, Lockheed Martin and all the weapons companies. I sold it some time ago. I may have to see if I can get a little bit more on the low. I think we'd all be wise to track Donald Trump's trades because there's no doubt that he's making a cash grab constantly. Mr. Chambliss comes back. He writes, there's also a video of the need of Arabs to go to the tall Sudanese Africans to, quote, cleanse them of their lineage. Yes, and we're all aware that the United Arab Emirates are fueling the bloodshed in Sudan, which has been going on for some time. And the worst aspect is when you have Africans who believe that they are Arabs, what happens is that they start all of a sudden trying to eradicate the true Africans, the ones who don't have mixed blood, those Dinka Africans, those blue-black Africans in South Sudan. And they follow the exact same playbook that the genocidal Muslim Arabs have been following for 1,300 years. There's nothing new under the sun with these people. Shout out to Wayne supporting the work. Came in via PayPal, writes, peace to the Saints tuition. May I also acknowledge Clay. He writes, they may not be ready for this level of truth, Saint, but I support you, Sasson or nothing. I'm trying to tell you, we have no level of compromise. We're going to be as kind to our enemies as the Muslims were when they were castrating 8-year-old black boys. That's how kind we're going to be. Shout out to Darian supporting via the Stripe link. Shout out to Ernest as well, supporting using the Stripe link. We're going to be as kind to them as they were when they were enslaving black women and girls, turning them into concubines. That's how kind we'll be. Yeah, we will return like for like is what we're going to do. No, we're not. There's no more playing nice. That silly black person, that silly African, that tap dancing, smiling and buck dancing and shuffling black person, that doesn't exist anymore. It's a new sheriff in town, ladies and saints. I want to yield the floor for someone who has something to say.
Yes, sir. Peace to the Saints.
Peace to the Saints.
Hey, yes, sir. I just had something on my mind. I was just looking at your title. The title, right? It's really profound in its couple of words where I believe the for in Islam is not for black people. I believe that's like a double entendre. And what I mean by that is you could look at it as in I hate to use this crude example, whereas you say you look in California where the Bloods and Crips originated, and then you look at the so-called Bloods and Crips in these other parts of the country, and I think
I
it's
see
a
you.
sentiment where, yeah, there you go. It's a sentiment where people don't take those Bloods and Crips serious.
Right.
It's almost like you weren't established where it originated. You really won't even be able to understand
That part.
the true part of it. But anyway, and then on the other end of it, when you say Islam is not for black people, meaning as if I were to say I am for justice, I am for truth. Um, they are not for black people because they there is no important there's no importance there. I see, you see these black people who are Muslim that die in whatever cases that may be, and you don't see these Muslims protesting or raising arms, and
Right.
so I just wanted to make that point. That's it.
You know what? That's funny you say that. I remember the first time I went to a fundraiser for Palestine. I believe this was 2014, if I recall correctly. And I have an eerie feeling that at that particular fundraiser, I was the person who put in the most money. And I was also the only black person there. And you would think that they'd be so thankful, like, wow, someone outside of our community cares. There are people who care even though they don't have to care. It's not in their self-interest. And I distinctly remember feeling like an outsider, not because I'm one who goes in. I'm not one of those people who go somewhere like, oh man, there's no black people in here. Like, I'm from California. We're 6% of the population in California. And the moment you go to an elite university or you get around some money, like it just drops dramatically. I stopped looking to see if there's black people around. So I'm not that guy who shows up like, where's all the black people at? Like, nah, hell nah. But it was so strong of a feeling of like, what are you doing here? Even though I was there to support and help, it was a feeling of, they make you feel like an outsider. And it was sheer old fashioned, good old racism. And the trick that blacks play on themselves constantly, whether it's within the Christian religion, within the Muslim religion, is that they make excuses for unexcusable behavior. And you see, you'll be there supporting these people, and instead of them being thankful, they're rebuffing you, and they're not respecting you as one helping them, or even as a Muslim, a fellow Muslim, because they don't view you as a fellow Muslim. They want to know, like, oh, do you speak Arabic? How well do you speak Arabic? When did you revert? And they're using all of these things to degrade your status as a Muslim. And what you do as a silly black is, because you have that soft nature, you think, oh, well, they don't know me, that's why. They got to get to know me. Or maybe it's because I'm the only person here who's not Palestinian. You make excuses. You find a way to make it make sense, even though it doesn't make sense. There was one silly Muslim on here yesterday. This Arab fellow said, he said, oh, well, Islam came in the Arabic language because it's the most beautiful language. I was like, word? I said, okay, well, let's say that's true. If Arabic is the most beautiful language, why not just have everyone speak Arabic? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have to have us all speak different languages? So it's harder for some people to access God and the word of God directly. And he says, oh, well, he made us different so that we could know each other. I said, I know the interpretation you're making because it's taught that way. And I too was taught to understand that to mean that we're different. And so we're able to better know and understand each other. I was like, but that's bullshit. That doesn't even make sense. Unless you were taught that specific silly interpretation, like you would say that's nonsense. That's a religious interpretation from a specific school of thought. But the idea of us being dissimilar in that allowing us to know each other, that's completely ludicrous. You ever worked with a colleague who doesn't speak the same language? No, because that wouldn't be a working relationship. And anytime, and I went to a school in Los Angeles, so we had kids who were illiterate as far as English goes. I'm sure they were good people. I had no clue though, because we couldn't communicate. Being able to communicate is hugely important, but only an imbecile who has been drunk with religious foolishness and fanaticism would say something so idiotic and think that it makes sense. It only makes sense to them is because it's been repeated. These people are brainwashed. And as far as cults go, this is a cult. The moment that you're in any religion and you believe it so deeply that you cannot yield to evidence, you cannot use reason, and you repeat things and think they're true merely because you've heard them repeated, you are in a cult. And the difference between what most people call a cult and what people call a religion is scale. Scale. It's the size of it. Because Islam has a lot of adherents, they call it a religion. If it had only 20, they'd call it a cult. Same thing is true of Christianity. So basically, people are saying because more people follow my false idea, it's more legitimate. And that shows that there's power in numbers. And that's precisely why the Black Code has been written as it has been written to establish power and to remove us from these things that don't respect us. Shout out to Albatar, and may also acknowledge Wayne came in. He writes, there is nothing you can say to a zealot to make them stop behaving as they are, stop believing. Just like there's nothing you could do to the assassin to make us stop winning. I'm trying to tell you. I yield the floor to anyone who has something to speak on.
Hey, can you hear me?
Peace to the state.
The gentleman who said peace to the saints, please speak first.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to move the conversation a bit also to Somalis, since I'm a Somali. Okay. I've lived in Somalia, so I can actually speak on this.
What town? You said you lived previously in Somalia.
Yeah.
Okay. What town?
I lived there for. Oh, sorry. I lived in Mogadishu.
Okay, very good. Okay, talk to us.
Yes, I lived in Mogadishu for a year and about a year and 7 months. And the reason for why I was there was because I had told my parents while I was in Denmark that I didn't want to be a Muslim no more. So they sent me back, actually. And I want to speak to those experiences. Yeah, well, of course, first off, the way that they got me to go told me that we're gonna stay there for like 2 weeks. Our grandfather, he's sick, so we have to visit him. And I had previously been to Somalia. That's why I met my grandfather, so I actually had somewhat connection to him, which made me go. Also being naive and a 16-year-old kid, I didn't really see the ramifications, the consequence that could happen. When I was in Somalia, I was forced to go to Islamic school, and I was also forced to attend Quran lessons and learn about Islam 5 days a week, both of them. So I was secular school and an Islamic school. Like we had a teacher come to our house, home. My parents, I'm just gonna make it short. Actually, after a year, I still decided that I didn't want to be Muslim. I told myself in the beginning I didn't want to be Muslim, but just I'm gonna hold on for a year, trying my best, trying to actually learn, even though I don't really believe in this stuff. And if I can find anything to help me stay in the religion, that's a good thing for my parents, but I'm doing it ultimately for their sake, not for my own sake. And if not, I'm just going to tell them, and so be it. Like, if they're going to kill me, I'm going to die. That was my disposition to the whole thing, you get me? And my parents, after a year, when I actually told them again, they did not accept it. Although I did tell my dad, that you don't have to just take me back to Denmark. You don't have to give me a place to stay. You don't have to give me food. You don't have to give me nothing. I'll take care of myself. I'm 17 years at this point. I'm about to turn 18. So my dad, he's like, he's crying. He's very emotional. My mom, she actually telling my dad, like, man up. Like, my mom, she went fucking ape shit, bro. She made crazy. My mom, she told me that she was gonna what you call it. She was gonna chain my foot to the window. We have like bars on the window, and not bars actually. We didn't have bars, but she just said that she would chain my foot to the window, and I wouldn't leave the house. I would just stay there. I didn't need an education. I didn't need to be a Muslim. I would just stay there beside her. I was like, what the fuck? I knew she said that because she was emotional, but there was a new side to my mom. You get me? And yeah, and this brings me further to my dad. He told me then that he told me that he would actually take me back to Denmark. He told me that he would. He was like, fine. He later then changed his mind because he put me into an institution where I was then subsequently chained. My feet was chained together pretty closely too, where I couldn't even like walk properly. And it wasn't because like they just told me how to like. It wasn't that they told me about the place we were going. Now they told me like we're going to our uncle's house and stuff like that. I could kind of see that something was up. Like I was pretty suspicious, but I'm in the devil's nest anyways. You get me? I'm pretty much sure that everybody here is my enemy. So I could see that the adverse reactions from everybody around me just told me that, yeah, no one is to be trusted. And yeah, and mind you that I'm living with all my brothers was there. Only one of my brothers was not there, and they all knew. We are 7 kids. The 2 youngest didn't know, but the rest did know, and they were all trying to like, how do I say it? Tell me to join the religion again and blah blah blah. Some had really really bad reactions to it, like where they was just disrespectful as fuck, man. Sorry for cursing, but wow, the size I saw from my own family was pretty crazy to me. It was like all the hatred that some of the individuals had towards me just came out, and whatever, you know, I took it on the chin. I knew I was ready to die anyway, so they put me in chains. When they put me in chains, it's not like I was like willing to let them put me in chains. Not. They put me into an institution. They closed all the gates. You know, the gates, they had big gate that had like 5 locks on it. They went everything. I knew from that point on, I'm probably not coming out again. And then they asked me, do you want to go to like the toilet? Me thinking to myself, you know what, I could use a little bit time, like a little space for myself, just to like think and like to know what to do, like. And I just took him up on the offer. We go there, and on the way there, I am assaulted by a grown man. I'm 17 years old. He takes me in a chokehold, pulls me into a room where 2 other men are holding me down. They're holding me down to basically, to put chains on me. I didn't know it at the first. I was fighting. When I realized that they wasn't trying to kill me, because the guy choking me, like I was about to faint. So like my body was, how do I say it? Like it didn't have the strength to keep going. You get me? So he stopped choking me. And then I was like, okay, I'm still alive. What's about to happen? And this guy, a 4th guy brings out a chain. I can hear the chain, you know, cha-ching, cha-ching. And this guy, yeah, as soon as I heard that chain, I started fighting again, and basically just had to accept it at some point that while fighting was like, okay, they're not gonna kill me. I'm gonna survive another day. Might as well just survive. You get me? So I let them put the chains on me. Watching another man put chains on you like that is a different experience, especially as a 17-year-old boy. And yeah. I then come up out of the exactly, and to confirm that, I actually had a conversation with my younger brother, who's 3 years younger than me, here a couple of weeks ago. Actually, not even because I was just talking about him man to man about some stuff, and I was actually also trying to know his position in all of this while it was happening, because when it was happening, my parents, they brought my younger brothers, my younger brother of 1 year who's younger than me, and my younger brother who's 3 years. I had this conversation with, and he tells me, I asked him about when he saw me in chains. He saw me chained up, walking in chains. He saw me not being able to walk properly. He saw me put on the fake smile, looking in the eyes like, hey, bro, don't worry, bro. Don't worry about it, bro. I'm not worried. Trying to keep a tough act, you get me? And yeah, he told me, I asked him, what was your, like, what did you go and tell mom about? Like, what did you tell her? Like, what did you have any, like, conversation with mom? What was it like after you saw that? And he told me, yeah, I tried telling mom, like, maybe you can put him in another place. Forget about taking him out, maybe like that, but put him in another place. Why does he have to be in there, being in chains? And my mom, her response to it was to shut him up by saying, shh, he's not a Muslim. So there you have it. Just that mere fact that I didn't want to be a part of the religion of Islam made it so that my mom had seen me as somebody to be subjugated to that.
Wow. Man, and the sad thing is, when you first started telling the story, your audio was a little bit rough, but we got 98% of the story, just like your first two sentences, and I just really wish it could have all been 100% clear, because that was such an important testimony. And I know that that's a real story because I know a lot of Somalis, and I've never met a Somali who said that they are not a Muslim. Not one time. I've never met one.
Mm-hmm. Damn. They exist. I met one chick one time, but you gotta catch them on the, while you gotta catch them off guard. You get me, like, because everybody trying to hide it so well.
Oh, shit, I bet, man. I bet. The funny thing is that so often people talk about what's written in the Quran. They talk about what's in the Hadith. And in the Quran, it says that there's no compulsion in religion, but they damn near try to beat it into you. They force it, and that is compulsion. And so it doesn't matter what the Quran says if no one's following the Quran.
Exactly. And mind you, I wanted to explain this so you understand and you get this very clearly. This place that I'm in, nobody knew that I didn't want to be a Muslim. If they knew that, I would have been killed. I would not be alive today. My parents knew that as well, so they refrained from telling anybody the fact that I didn't want to be Muslim. They told the story which it made it seem out that I just wasn't behaving and I didn't want to listen to my parents, which is also a grave sin in their eyes.
So they didn't want to tell the real reason because it would bring shame to the family and possibly get you took out.
Yeah, exactly. And also Somalia is very much also maybe very clan based. I forgot to tell this. I should have told this. As soon as I was put in chains, I was put into a chair where you can call him not chairman, but the guy who sort of runs the place, right?
Yeah.
The leader.
Warden.
And he's sitting on a outside porch. We are surrounded by like 3-meter tall walls. The whole compound is like a big house in the middle with a masjid and a smaller house on the on the side of the house. And then you can go. The big house where everybody sleeps in is in the middle, and you can go all the way around the perimeter of that, like all around it. Mm. They sit me at where the drive-in is, where the cars usually are, and there's a bed there where the leader of places sitting on the bed, and he then speaks to me and tells me this. He starts this off like this: "You and me are gonna be good friends." I just look at her like, what the fuck, bro? This not a movie, man. What you trying to be acting? Yeah.
You know, when you were saying before, when they first started grabbing you, you said the guy started choking you and took you into a room, and there was 2 other guys, and they both started grabbing you. Man, I thought that was going to end bad, bro. I was bracing for bad news.
Yo, yeah, I can see how it sounds like that.
Yeah, it just sounded bad, bro.
Yeah, but like, I want to explain. Like, this guy, he explained to me the rules of the place and basically told me that I was gonna be living there, and I was gonna learn the Quran. I was gonna behave, and if I not, they would, they would see about it. You know, they would solve that if there was any problems in a fucked up way, to say the least. And they then come and give me a bed to like sleep on. They just put it on the floor, the mattress, and tell me, you want to lay down for a bit. I was kind of like wondering, why are they treating me so well? You know, like, even though I'm in chains, they give me a bed to sleep on. But learning about it later on is because I was good money to them. You get me? A lot of people in there were locals. They were in there for like $50 a month, whereas me, I was good money to them. My parents paid $300 a month, which is a lot more.
Absolutely.
And my parents, yeah.
No, I said, yeah. Yes. No, that's the way the world is.
And an individual, like an old man with the red beard, he comes over to me and sits in front of me while I'm sitting on the mattress, and he asked me really quick. He asked me like, "Is your mother's name Uba such and such?" And I look at him. I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Okay, I'm your uncle." Well, I was like, "What the fuck?" This man is my uncle. I was man, I looked at him like that seriously, like, you're my uncle and you're looking at me like this. Bruh. Then I just have to like have this conversation, because I know how it is, you know, Somali, like, we're still going through the formalities, you know. I'm dad, he's telling me how he's my uncle, and it's actually because of clan system, so he's not my immediate uncle, but like, some generations back, they say, my mom and his and him, they share a common ancestor, and yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that testimony with us, man. That's very valuable. And shout out to you for locking in, bruh.
Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, back then, I just want to say this. Went in there, I was in there for 3 months only. Usually everybody else I knew in there was in there for 6 months. The reason for why I was in there 3 months is exactly that. I locked really in, bro. Like, I knew after one day being in there, because the next day, my dad, he came to visit me. He told, I asked him, okay, if I'm going to be in here a year and I still don't believe in Islam, are you going to take me out then? And then my dad, he couldn't give me a straight up answer. Him not giving me a straight up answer basically told me that, okay, you're not coming out here as a non-Muslim. You're staying in here. So I better fake it till I make it. You get me? Like, I better do the best I can to fake it till I make it. Which led actually to some surprising results. I was one of the best students in there, you can say, in a fucked up ways student, you get me? Because everybody in there, you're supposed to read about the Quran, you're supposed to learn about the Hadith, and everybody is not really doing it well, even though they claim to be Muslim. 90% of them was doing it with no passion, no soul, no rigorous urgency or nothing. Everybody was just trying to get by and doing as little as they can. And I'm speaking to the other people in there, because I'm pretty sure, as far as I know for myself, that I was the only one who didn't believe in Islam.
Oh, so you think the other guys did believe?
Yeah, because many of them, like there were also many from internationally, from England, from Canada, from America, from Sweden. There was also from there are different countries, Kenya, Somalis, from all around the world, who was misbehaving or some kinds of rebellious way, had some kinds of rebellious nature against their parents, to which where their parents felt the need to lock them in and pay good money for it. Not just their parents, also their relatives could be that. And some were the reasons for some were because they sold dope, some were because they were really fancying women, and some were gangbangers. And me being 17 years old, I'm having conversation with these people. Like, I haven't done most of the things they had done or what. I don't know why my parents put me in there, because I'm not learning anything they would want me to learn. I'm just doing like, basically, okay, I want to explain it like this. There was one guy, I found out that we are distant cousins. He's from England. He tells me that, he tells me the rules of the place. He tells me that when you come in here, you leave your balls by the gate. You're not a man in here. Basically, like straight up, don't act like a hero. Don't act like you're gonna do something that, because it'll only get you tortured in here. People in here, they will, if they caught the guards, if they catch you speaking to another person, they will torture you. If they catch you working out, they will torture you. If they suspect that you might be trying to flee, they will torture you. And basically, it's a mental prison as much as it's a physical prison, in as much as you cannot really share ideas. You cannot, you're not allowed to. And the way in which they will torture you is that, much like the Ethiopian woman who was hanged upside down, they will hang you upside down. If you're a grown person, 2 men will hold you. If you're a kid, 1 man will be enough. And they will tie your hands and feet together and hang you upside down, hit your feet, the underside of your feet, with the water pipes made out of plastics, extremely thick, so you can feel it to the bone.
God damn, bro, this is a real Guantanamo Bay shit, man. Bro, I gotta go over to Somalia. They too lit over there, bro. I gotta pull up one time.
Man, you do your best, bro. I ain't going back though. Maybe, bro, but it won't be on some kumbaya shit.
Right. Man, that's crazy. Man, what's up with the shorties? Say if I wanted to pull up in Somalia and take something down, can it be done, or like they really over there tripping?
Well, I think it could be done. Yeah, it can really be done, but you know how to move. You definitely would need to know some Somalians in there, because it's not easy to just see it. Maybe for you, but because of your experience, you can look at it. You can look at a chick, and know she wants it. You ever?
She going.
But like, yeah. People do go to like clubs. People do go to hotels to just have sex, and you would definitely be able to if you went there. I know some Somalis here in Denmark who went to vacation in Somalia to do exactly that.
Okay, fair enough. Man, I appreciate you coming on and giving us some testimony. I think this is very insightful, especially because it was in Somalia. And this is a place most people will never get to. Most people will never, ever go to Mogadishu. Maybe Hargeisa, but that's about it. That's about as close as they're going to get.
Damn, bro. I know it's like that, but it's not a conversation you really have that often. Yeah, right here where I live, I do not have one Somali friend who's not Muslim. I don't even consider them to be all that mentally well. Most of them, even my family members. because of their disposition, as also the fact of them following the religion. Today they, yeah, I won't speak too much on them actually. I think it's better to just speak to my experience here right now.
Agree
Speak
wholeheartedly.
a bit more about it. Yeah.
Okay. I got to wind this thing down. I appreciate you tapping in with me, brother. And do keep in touch. And I encourage you to link up with the Assassin section in Europe. They actually just recently had a meetup in Poland. They all went to Krakow, had some fun over there. Good brothers. I think you'll like those guys a lot. And one of the brothers is actually Somali as well. I think the brother's from Sweden and primarily lives in Dubai, but I'm guessing he's probably back in Sweden now that there's war going on in the Middle East.
That's what's up, man. I have tapped in with the Saints here in Europe, and to my liking, I like them very much. It's just that I had so many vices, too many
Fair
bad things
enough.
about me.
Yes,
So,
yes, I know what
yeah.
you mean.
Nowadays, I have been sober, it's at least for like 5 months, and I've been working on not everybody says working on themselves, but you work on yourself while you work. You get like you got to do something, and I'm doing that. I'm setting goals for myself and actually achieving them right now. So I think I'm in a position where I should be reaching out.
Okay, sounds
Again,
good. And I
do my best
respect
with
the
it.
fact that you're self-aware. That's the key right there. So that's a beautiful thing. And we look forward to hearing that you're being your best self. So until next time.
Yes, sir.
All right, peace to the Saints.
Until next time. Peace to the Saints.
Okay, gentlemen, let me acknowledge some of the folks supporting the work. Shout out to Paige writes, many migrate from African nations to Muslim majority countries for a better life. While the savagery they face by the Muslims is a major concern, the primary issue that must be resolved is the flawed governance and instability in the home countries they are forced to flee. Agree wholeheartedly. Let me acknowledge Elwood. He writes, taking into consideration the etymology of religion, to bind back to truth/law. None of these zealots are actually practicing religion. They are practicing fables, rumors, rituals, widespread lies, and fairy tales. I like the way you put that. I also acknowledge Mr. Chambliss. He writes, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia has announced that all people who are citizens of the country of Egypt's northeast border will be deported if found in Malaysia. Oh, that's gangster. That's gangster. Shout out to him. Mr. Chambliss writes, also, Spain is in a very similar geopolitical position that Iran and Yemen are in. They have the ability to sequester certain traffic into the Mediterranean, essentially cutting off all shipments to some country on Egypt's eastern border. Will they do it? I would think that Spain actually would do it. Spain has been very strong against both Trump and Netanyahu. It's been quite impressive. We really, and with countries like Spain doing that, they create a very meaningful example, being a Western country, not abiding by Israeli domination. Ladies and saints, it's been a pleasure at this time to fellowship with you all. Until next time, peace of the saints.